The stars stretched endlessly across the black sky, each one a silent witness to the vast emptiness of space. On board the human starship Vanguard, Captain Aaron Cade stared at the flickering screen that displayed a distress signal. It was unlike any signal he had ever seen. Its frequency carried a subtle tone that spoke of desperation, fear, and authority all at once. "This is unusual," Lieutenant Mira said, pointing at the readings. "It's coming from the planet Valira Prime. That system isn't known for sending distress calls." Aaron leaned closer. Valira Prime was a world far from human colonies, a planet belonging to the Lyrians, a proud and ancient alien civilization. Humans had rarely interacted with them, and rumors suggested the Lyrians preferred solving their own problems, often with strength rather than diplomacy. "Maybe someone is in real trouble," Aaron replied. "Let's find out before it's too late." The Vanguard adjusted its course, diving toward the distant blue and green planet. As they approached, the human crew could see storms raging across the surface. The atmosphere shimmered with strange colors, a warning of the planet's natural volatility. Aaron activated the communications system and tried to send a message. "This is Captain Aaron Cade of the human ship Vanguard. We received your distress call. Identify yourself." For a moment, there was only silence. Then a soft voice echoed through the speakers, clear, urgent, and commanding at the same time. "I'm Princess Lyra of Valira Prime," the voice said. "My people are in grave danger. I beg you to help us." The crew exchanged surprised looks. Aliens rarely use the word beg. It suggested desperation beyond mere caution. "Princess Lyra," Aaron said respectfully, "we are on our way. Tell us what is happening." The holographic display in the bridge flickered, revealing the princess herself. Her skin had a pale silver-blue tone, and her eyes shone like twin stars. Her expression was tense, her posture straight, but her voice carried a weight of fear. "Our world is under attack," she explained. "A rival faction called the Korvax has taken control of our outer cities. They are moving quickly. Our defenses are strong, but they are using weapons we cannot match. Without help, my people will be lost." Aaron studied her carefully. The humans had faced threats before, but the Korvax were known to be relentless, intelligent, and merciless. Yet humans also had a reputation in the galaxy for turning impossible situations into victories through creativity, courage, and adaptability. "Tell me," he asked, "how can we help? What do you need from us?" Lyra hesitated, her voice softer now. I need someone who can think beyond what we know. Someone who can see solutions where none exist. I have heard stories of humans. You are clever, resourceful, and fearless. If anyone can help us, it is you." Aaron felt a mixture of pride and caution. Humans were respected for their ingenuity, yes, but the galaxy rarely trusted them with entire civilizations. And yet, this was an opportunity. Helping Valira Prime could build an alliance that might change the balance of power in this part of the galaxy. "Understood," Aaron said. "We will assess the situation and act." The Vanguard entered Valira Prime's upper atmosphere. The crew marveled at the planet's beauty, even as the signs of conflict became evident. Smoke rose from distant cities. Explosions created flickers of orange against the swirling storms. The Korvax were already making their move. "Lieutenant," Mira adjusted the ship's scanners. "The Korvax are using energy-based weapons. They are faster and more powerful than anything we have seen on our maps. But their patterns are predictable. They follow certain routines. If we can exploit that, we might stand a chance." Aaron nodded. "Prepare a landing party. I want to meet the princess in person. We need to see the situation up close before making any decisions." The Vanguard descended toward the surface, its hull cutting through the storms like a silver arrow. They landed near the capital city, where walls of crystal-like metal reflected the flashes of distant conflict. Princess Lyra awaited them, flanked by a few elite guards. She studied Aaron with a mixture of curiosity and caution. "I was not sure you would come," she said softly. "Most would have turned away at the first sign of danger." Humans had a reputation for stepping into challenges that others avoided. Aaron met her gaze steadily. "Turning away is easy," he said, "but it doesn't solve anything. We are here to help." Lyra's eyes softened. "Then I hope your courage matches your words. My people have never faced an enemy like this. If we fail—" Her voice broke for a moment before she regained her composure. Aaron placed a reassuring hand on the nearest console. "Failure is not an option. Tell me everything about the Korvax. Strategies, weaknesses, anything. We will find a way." As they walked through the streets toward the command center, Aaron observed the chaos around him. Civilians hid in alleys. Automated defense drones patrolled the skies, but were already struggling to keep up with the attacks. The human mind raced, calculating possibilities, considering unconventional solutions. By the time they reached the command center, Aaron had a rough plan forming in his mind. He would combine human ingenuity with Lyrian technology. He would turn the planet's natural storms to their advantage. And most importantly, he would inspire hope. Because in the galaxy, sometimes hope was the strongest weapon of all. Princess Lyra looked at him, her expression a mixture of fear, hope, and wonder. "Can you really save us?" she asked quietly. Aaron smiled faintly. "We'll do more than survive. We'll make them regret underestimating humans." The storm outside raged on, and the distant flashes of battle painted the sky. But in that moment, a quiet certainty settled between the human and the alien princess. Together, they would face the coming darkness, and humanity's cleverness would shine brighter than any weapon, and somewhere in the galaxy, the Korvax would soon learn that humans were not to be underestimated. The command center of Valera Prime buzzed with energy. Holographic maps hovered in the air, showing the Korvax forces advancing steadily toward the capital. Soldiers rushed from console to console, and alarms echoed through the chamber. Yet in the middle of it all, Princess Lyra's gaze remained fixed on Captain Aaron Cade. "We cannot hold them much longer," she said, her voice steady despite the worry in her eyes. "Our outer defenses are failing. If the Korvax break through, the inner cities will fall in hours." Aaron studied the holograms. The Korvax were intelligent, yes, but they relied heavily on brute force. Their patterns, while strong, were predictable to someone trained to observe carefully. Humans had always thrived in situations where rules could be bent or patterns could be exploited. "Tell me about your defenses," Aaron asked. "What can move? What can be controlled remotely? Are there automated turrets, drones, or planetary shields?" Lyra nodded and gestured to a console. "We have energy barriers around the main city blocks. Our drones patrol the skies, but the Korvax overwhelm them with numbers. And our turrets are powerful, but slow to reposition." Aaron's mind raced. "Good. That gives us a start. If we can create distractions and force them into predictable paths, we can use their own strength against them. I need volunteers willing to take risks." Lyra looked around at her elite guards. Most of them were tense, uncertain. None had seen humans in battle. They were proud warriors, but humans were an unknown quantity. Finally, one officer stepped forward, courage shining in her eyes. "We will follow your lead, Captain. We trust you." Aaron nodded in appreciation. "Then we start with reconnaissance. I need eyes where the Korvax cannot expect. We must understand their movement before acting." The princess led him to a smaller shuttle waiting outside. Its engines hummed, quietly, a contrast to the chaos on the ground. As they took off, the city fell away beneath them, revealing the full scale of the Korvax invasion. Towers had collapsed, and plumes of smoke marked the places where their forces had struck hardest. From above, Aaron noticed a pattern. The Korvax forces moved in waves, but each wave left gaps between them, gaps that could be exploited. He pointed it out to Lyra. They are strong in front, but there are openings at the sides, he said. If we can lure them into these gaps, we can attack from unexpected directions. Lyra's eyes widened. But we have no reserves ready to flank them. Doing so would leave us exposed. Aaron smiled faintly. That's where humans are different. We improvise. The next few hours were tense. Aaron moved swiftly through the city with Lyra and a small team of elite guards. They set up observation points and sent out small recon drones to track the ideal Korvax troops. Every corner of the city revealed more about their strategies, and Aaron began formulating a plan that relied on speed, surprise, and clever use of terrain. As night fell, the Korvax launched a concentrated attack on the northern districts. Lights from explosions lit the dark sky, and the sound of energy weapons echoed through the city. Civilians huddled in shelters while automated defenses tried to hold the line. Aaron activated the first phase of his plan. Using portable signal disruptors, he temporarily disabled the Korvax drones in a small sector. The enemy paused, confused, giving the humans and Lyrians an opening. Now, he ordered. Lyra's elite guards moved swiftly, cutting off the Korvax advance at the predicted gap. The enemy stumbled into the trap, surprised by the coordinated flanking attack. Aaron's strategy worked better than expected. For a brief moment, the tide of the battle shifted. Lyra watched, amazed. Humans did not rely solely on weapons or power. They relied on thinking, timing, and adaptability. She had never seen anyone command a battlefield with such calm determination. After the Korvax retreated temporarily, Aaron gathered Lyra. "This is only the beginning," he said. "They will return stronger, but now we know their patterns. We can predict their movements and plan accordingly. The key is to stay ahead of them." Lyra nodded, her respect for him growing. "Your methods, they are unlike anything we have ever seen. In our history, we relied on strength and tradition. You rely on intelligence, observation, and courage. I can see why humans are spoken of across the galaxy." Aaron smiled. "We survive by thinking differently, and we fight by understanding the enemy, not just overpowering them. That is the advantage humans bring." Even as they spoke, Aaron noticed something troubling on the scanners. A smaller Korvax squad had broken away from the main force and was heading directly toward the princess's palace. Their target was clear: strike at leadership and cause chaos. "We have a problem," he said. "They're coming for the palace. If they reach it, they'll capture you and destabilize your entire government." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Then we must stop them. But our forces are still scattered," Aaron thought quickly. "Then we use the terrain. There are narrow streets and alleyways leading to the palace. We can create barriers and bottlenecks. The Korvax may be strong, but they are not prepared for clever traps." The two leaders moved rapidly through the city, setting up barricades, rerouting civilians to safety, and placing small teams in ambush positions. Aaron coordinated every move, blending human ingenuity with Lyrian technology. As the Korvax squad approached, they walked right into the trap. Energy barriers slowed them down, and hidden units struck from the sides. The enemy was taken by surprise, faltering under the unexpected tactics. For the first time, the humans and Lyrians were not merely defending, they were controlling the battlefield. After the skirmish, Lyra turned to Aaron. "You have changed everything in just one day. My people are beginning to see humans differently. Maybe even hope?" Aaron gave her a reassuring nod. "This is only the start. Tomorrow will bring greater challenges, but if we continue to think like this, we can protect your world." Outside, the city settled into an uneasy calm. Smoke still rose from distant districts, and the Korvax forces were regrouping. But in the heart of the capital, hope had begun to grow. Humans had arrived, not just as soldiers, but as problem solvers. And that made all the difference. Princess Lyra watched Aaron as he planned the next move. She realized that in this human, she had found something rare in the galaxy: courage, intellect, and the ability to turn desperation into strategy. And somewhere beyond the clouds, the Korvax would soon understand that the humans who had come to Valera Prime were unlike any enemy they had faced before. The next morning, Valera Prime awoke under a tense sky. Smoke still curled from the outskirts of the capital, and the Korvax had regrouped. Their attacks were relentless, and the human crew knew they had only a short window to act. Captain Aaron. Cade stood beside Princess Lyra in the palace command room, studying a new holographic display. The enemy had established a heavily fortified base near the northern plains, and from there, they could launch devastating strikes at multiple cities. Lyra's face was pale. "It is heavily defended. Our forces alone cannot take it. Even with your help, it seems impossible." Aaron tilted his head, observing the map carefully. "Impossible doesn't exist. It's just something that hasn't been solved yet." Lyra blinked at him. Humans often spoke in strange ways, but Aaron had a way of making them seem reasonable. "Then, what is your plan?" she asked, curiosity and hope mixing in her voice. Aaron's mind raced. The Korvax were strong in numbers, heavily armed, and fast-moving. A direct attack would be suicide. But humans had a history of using creativity to win battles that seemed hopeless. "We will not attack head-on," he explained. "We will use misdirection and speed. A small team will infiltrate their base, disable their main power generators, and create confusion. While they are distracted, the rest of your forces will strike from unexpected angles." Lyra frowned. "A small team? That is incredibly dangerous. They will surely be destroyed." Aaron's eyes were steady. "Humans take risks, but we plan for them. The key is preparation, observation, and speed. The Korvax expect brute force. They do. Not expect cunning." Lyra hesitated, but then nodded. She had learned to trust humans, and Aaron's confidence inspired her. "Very well. I will select our best warriors to accompany you." Within hours, a small team of Lyrian elite guards, human soldiers, and Aaron himself moved toward the northern plains. The landscape was harsh, jagged rocks, deep crevices, and dense fog. Perfect for concealment, but dangerous for anyone unprepared. Aaron led the group, scanning the area with a small device that mapped enemy movements. "The Korvax rely on patrol patterns," he explained. "They will not expect an attack from the West Ridge. That is where we will begin." As they advanced, Lyra noticed something remarkable about Aaron. He moved calmly, even in the presence of danger. Every decision was precise, every observation meaningful. The human's ability to remain composed in impossible situations was unlike anything she had seen. Suddenly, a Korvax patrol appeared ahead, moving swiftly along the ridge. Lyra froze, ready to call for an attack, but Aaron raised a hand. "Wait," he whispered. "Watch and learn. Sometimes patience is the best weapon." He activated a small device on the ground. A low-frequency signal disrupted the patrols. Communication briefly, causing confusion. The Korvax soldiers stopped, looked around, and then moved in the wrong direction, exactly as Aaron predicted. Lyra's eyes widened. You predicted that?" Aaron smiled faintly. "We call it observation and understanding. Now, let's move before they recover." The team pressed on, using every shadow and rock to conceal their movement. They reached the edge of the Korvax base, where massive energy barriers and automated turrets guarded the perimeter. To anyone else, it would seem impossible to infiltrate. Aaron crouched behind a boulder. "We cannot go through the front. We need a back entrance. Notice the smaller maintenance tunnel here." He pointed to a barely visible opening. "It is lightly guarded and rarely used. That is our way in." Lyra nodded, trusting him completely. Lead the way. Inside the tunnel, the air was tight and dark. The team moved silently, guided by Aaron's instructions. He checked sensors and mapped the patrols. Every step was calculated, every movement deliberate. Finally, they reached the central generator room. Huge machines hummed, powering the Korvax defenses across the northern plains. Aaron examined the controls. We need to shut these down without alerting the entire base. A direct attack would trigger alarms. Using a combination of human technology and Lyrian engineering, Aaron carefully rewired the systems. Sparks flew. Alarms almost triggered, but the team held their nerves. Within minutes, the generators powered down, and a wave of darkness fell over the enemy base. The Korvax soldiers were caught off guard. Confusion spread through their ranks, and the humans and Lyrians took advantage, creating calculated chaos. Explosions were staged in one area, drawing attention, while Aaron led a small group to sabotage weapons and communication arrays. From above, Princess Lyra watched as her forces moved with renewed vigor. The humans' plan was working. The Korvax were losing their advantage, their strength neutralized by strategy rather than brute force. As the mission concluded, Aaron's team retreated successfully. Not a single member was lost, though the Korvax were left stunned and disorganized. Lyra rushed to meet him. "You did the impossible," she said, awe in her voice. "I thought we would never succeed. Humans, you change everything." Aaron shook his head modestly. "We just look at the problem differently. That is what humans do. You see strength in numbers, we see strength in thought. Together we make a force no enemy expects." Lyra smiled. She had learned something vital today. Not just about humans, but about hope, courage, and possibility. In the human, she had found a leader who could face what seemed impossible and turn it into reality. And somewhere beyond the plains, the Korvax regrouped, unaware that they had just been outsmarted by a species they had underestimated for far too long. The victory over the northern Korvax base had brought a brief sense of relief to Valira Prime, but Captain Aaron Cade knew it was only temporary. The enemy was clever and adaptable, and humans had learned long ago that danger often hid where no one expected it. Aaron stood in the palace command room studying the latest reports. "Something doesn't add up," he muttered, frowning. The Korvax forces had retreated, but not as quickly as they should have. Their movements seemed deliberate, almost guided. "Someone here is helping them." Princess Lyra approached, her expression tense. "You mean a spy?" Aaron nodded. "Yes. Either a traitor or someone passing information. We need to find out before they strike again." Lyra's eyes widened. She trusted her advisors, but she knew that fear could make even loyal hearts falter. "How will we know who it is?" Aaron tapped the console. "Patterns, timing, observation. Human eyes can catch things that machines and assumptions miss. We'll watch closely, and I'll identify the traitor before they can do serious damage." Over the next few hours, Aaron and a small team of trusted Lyrian guards monitored all palace communications and movements. Every message, every transport, every scheduled patrol was cross-checked against Korvax attacks. Slowly, a pattern began to emerge. A high-ranking aide, someone Lyra had considered a loyal friend, was behaving oddly. Messages he sent to the Korvax were subtle, hidden within normal transmissions. His orders sometimes allowed enemy units to pass through areas that should have been defended. Aaron studied the data. "This is deliberate," he said. "He is helping them. We need proof before confronting him. Otherwise, it could get messy." Lyra's face hardened. "I can't believe it. He has served my family for decades." Aaron placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Betrayal often comes from where you least expect it. That doesn't mean your people are weak. It means we have to be sharper than ever." That night, Aaron and Lyra set a trap. They allowed a small, controlled message to be sent through the aid, making it appear as if the palace defenses were weak in one district. Hidden sensors and human-designed surveillance monitored the response. It didn't take long. The Korvax attacked the fake weak point immediately. But Aaron had already prepared an ambush. Using a combination of Lyrian weapons and human strategy, the attack was swiftly repelled. The sensors traced the Korvax movements back to the aid. Lyra confronted him in the palace halls. "Why?" she demanded. "Why betray your people?" The aide hesitated, but his expression was one of arrogance rather than fear. "You cannot protect your world," he said. "The Korvax are stronger. You are naive to think otherwise." Aaron stepped forward. "Strength alone doesn't win wars. Strategy, adaptability, and courage do. And humans know how to use all three." The aide's eyes widened in recognition. He had underestimated humans, thinking their small numbers and strange ways would make them irrelevant. Now he realized he had misjudged the human captain. Aaron's plan had already neutralized the aide's power. Guards restrained him while Aaron and Lyra secured all communications. The betrayal had been stopped before it caused irreparable damage. Lyra turned to Aaron, her respect and relief clear. "You saved not just my people, but the trust within my own council. Humans. You are extraordinary." Aaron shook his head modestly. "We just see problems differently. And we act fast. That's what humans do. But you need to know something. The Korvax won't give up. They are regrouping, and this betrayal was only a small part of their plan." Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Then, we must be ready. We cannot allow them to exploit weaknesses again. We will fight together, humans and Lyrians, using your strategies." Aaron studied the maps again. The Korvax forces were concentrated in 3 main areas. Using diversion, tactics, rapid strikes, and careful planning, they could weaken the enemy before a full assault. But the human captain knew this required precise timing and flawless execution. As they prepared for the next stage, Aaron noticed Lyra watching him closely. "You are calm in the face of danger," she said softly. "Even when betrayal lurks in your midst, you do not falter." Aaron smiled faintly. "Humans survive by adapting. We focus on what we can control and stay alert to surprises. That is the difference. Fear does not help. Action does." Lyra nodded, understanding. She realized that the human's strength was not in raw power, but in thought, observation, and courage. These were qualities her people had admired, but rarely seen in action on such a scale. The night grew deep, and the city outside was quiet for the moment. But both the human and the princess knew that this calm was temporary. The Korvax would strike again, more cunning and prepared. Aaron's mind raced with possibilities, devising plans that combined human innovation and Lyrian technology. He tested each idea in simulations, considering every angle. Every potential threat, every hidden weakness was accounted for. Finally, he turned to Lyra. "Tomorrow, we move decisively. We will turn the Korvax's advantage into a disadvantage, and we will show them that underestimating humans is a mistake they will regret." Lyra smiled, her confidence renewed. "Then let us show them, together." In the shadows, the restrained aide seethed, realizing that his careful planning had been undone by a human's mind, and somewhere beyond the palace walls, the Korvax prepared, unaware that their next move would meet human ingenuity and Lyrian courage. A combination they had never faced before. The battle for Valera Prime was far from over, but with humans now. Fully involved, the odds were beginning to shift. The galaxy was about to see why humans were not just survivors. They were innovators, leaders, and a force to be reckoned with. The sun rose over Valera Prime, casting long shadows across the city as smoke from past battles lingered in the sky. The Korvax were regrouping, but their forces were disorganized, still shaken from the previous ambush and the betrayal that had been uncovered. It was the perfect moment for humans and Lyrians to act. Captain Aaron Cade stood in the palace command room with Princess Lyra. Holographic maps showed enemy movements, troop strength, and weak points. Aaron's plan relied not on brute force, but on careful strategy, human ingenuity, and Lyrian technology working together. The Korvax think they have the upper hand, Aaron explained. They are strong, yes, but predictable. We will use their own expectations against them. Lyra's elite guards listened closely. But how? She asked. Even if we attack now, they are still dangerous. Aaron pointed at the map. We split them into 3 groups. The largest group is here, near the northern plains. That is our diversion. We make them believe it is the main attack. The second group is distracted with false signals and traps. The smallest group, the one protecting, the central city is the real target. That is where we strike decisively. Lyra's eyes widened. It sounds risky. Aaron smiled faintly. Humans like a challenge. We rely on strategy, timing, and surprise. Risk is only danger if you do not plan carefully. The preparations began immediately. Human engineers adapted Lyrian drones to act as decoys. Smoke machines and holographic projectors created the illusion of larger forces moving in one area, while small teams stealthily advanced toward the true targets. Aaron personally checked every device, ensuring everything would work as planned. As the operation commenced, chaos spread among the Korvax forces exactly as Aaron predicted. The northern plains were filled with decoy units, drawing the enemy's attention. Traps slowed their movements, and misdirected signals confused them further. For the first time, the Korvax were reacting, not acting. From a hill overlooking the battlefield, Lyra watched, astonished. Humans did not just fight. They thought, adapted, and turned every challenge into an opportunity. Her people were learning. Quickly, inspired by the human captain's confidence and intelligence, Aaron led the main strike team through narrow streets and side alleys, avoiding heavily fortified zones. They used small but powerful energy disruptors to disable enemy weapons and communications, striking with precision. Lyrian soldiers followed Aaron's guidance, placing barriers, creating ambushes, and forcing the Korvax into disadvantageous positions. In the chaos, the Korvax commander realized too late that he had underestimated the humans. His forces were scattered, disoriented, and weakened. Every tactic he had relied upon now failed, and the enemy struggled to regroup. Back in the palace, Lyra coordinated the defenders, using Aaron's plan. Civilians were safely evacuated, while elite units moved strategically to support the main strike. The city itself became part of the human-designed strategy. Buildings, streets, and even natural terrain were used to slow the enemy, channeling them into areas where they could be contained and defeated. Aaron moved quickly through the battlefield, always several steps ahead. Every decision was calculated, every move precise. Korvax soldiers fell into traps, stumbled through ambushes, and encountered human ingenuity at every turn. Lyra followed closely, her admiration growing. "I have never seen anyone lead like this," she said quietly to herself. "Humans, you are unlike anything we imagined." Hours passed, and the battle began to turn decisively. The largest Korvax group was contained in the northern plains, while the real strike team successfully targeted the central city, disabling key weapons and creating chaos among the enemy ranks. Aaron's strategy was working perfectly. The Korvax were no longer the hunters, they were being hunted. And in that moment, the city of Valira Prime was no longer merely defending itself. It was fighting back intelligently, with humans leading the charge. Finally, the Korvax commander realized his defeat was imminent. He attempted to retreat, but Aaron had anticipated this. Human and Lyrian forces blocked every escape route, leaving the enemy with no choice but to surrender or face destruction. Lyra approached Aaron as the last pockets of resistance fell. "You have done it," she said, awe in her voice. "You have turned what seemed impossible into victory." Aaron shook his head. "It wasn't just me. It was humans and Lyrians working together. We adapted, we planned, and we acted quickly. That is what makes the difference." Lyra smiled, her heart full of respect. "Your people, humans, you are more than warriors. You are thinkers, leaders, and heroes. I have never seen anything like this." Aaron glanced at the city below. Though buildings were damaged, the people were alive, safe, and inspired. The Korvax had been defeated not by sheer power, but by strategy, cooperation, and human ingenuity. As night fell over Valera Prime, the city glowed with lights of victory. Citizens cheered for their saviors, but their eyes often lingered on the humans who had changed the course of the battle. For the first time, the galaxy saw that humans were not only brave, they were brilliant. Lyra stood beside Aaron on a high terrace, looking at the city below. "The Korvax will not forget this," she said softly. "But neither will my people. Humans have earned our trust and admiration. You have shown us a new way to fight, to survive, and to win." Aaron smiled faintly. "It is what humans do. We do not back down even when odds are against us, and we never stop thinking. That is our greatest strength." The night sky sparkled with stars. But on Valera Prime, one truth was clear. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again. The morning sun rose over Valera Prime, casting golden light on the battle-scarred city. Smoke still rose from distant districts, but the Korvax forces had been decisively defeated. Their soldiers were captured, their weapons disabled, and their plans foiled. For the first time in generations, Valera Prime could breathe without fear. Captain Aaron Cade stood on a terrace overlooking the city, watching the citizens emerge from shelters. Their eyes were wide with awe, their voices full of relief and joy. He had led humans and Lyrians alike through impossible challenges, but seeing hope return to the people was more powerful than any victory in battle. Princess Lyra joined him, her expression a mixture of pride and gratitude. "You have done what I thought impossible," she said. "My people are alive because of you." "Because of humans?" Aaron shook his head. "It wasn't just me. Humans are clever, yes, but it's the willingness to work together that made this possible. Your people fought bravely too. We just helped guide the strategy." Lyra smiled. "Still, humans are remarkable. You take risks, think differently, and never lose hope. My people will not forget this." The city began to celebrate cautiously. Soldiers helped repair damaged infrastructure, while engineers restored power and communications. Citizens cheered as patrols cleared streets and freed trapped civilians. Amid the chaos, Aaron and Lyra met with her council to plan the next steps. "Captain," Lyra said, "your presence here has changed everything. My council sees humans not as outsiders, but as allies, leaders who can guide even the most desperate of situations." Aaron nodded. "Humans have always been underestimated. That often gives us an advantage, but respect must be earned, not demanded. And today, your people have shown they are willing to stand and fight alongside us." The council members looked at him with newfound admiration. What had once seemed impossible, a small, human-led intervention, had now become the foundation of a powerful alliance. For the first time, humans were recognized not just as survivors, but as problem solvers, leaders, and heroes in the eyes of a major alien civilization. Lyra turned to Aaron. "There is one more thing we must do. The Korvax may return, but if we show strength and unity, They may hesitate next time. We need to make our presence known beyond this world." Aaron's eyes sparkled with understanding. "Then we show them what humans are capable of. Not just in Valira Prime, but across the galaxy. Strength, strategy, and courage can be more powerful than any weapon." Together, they sent messages to neighboring systems, demonstrating the new alliance and warning that any attack on Valira Prime would be met with intelligence, strategy, and force. The Korvax would think twice before underestimating humans again. Lyra led Aaron through the streets of the capital. Children waved, adults bowed, and even skeptics watched in awe. Humans had changed the perception of an entire civilization in a matter of days. One young Lyrian approached timidly. "Captain Aaron," he said, "I want to learn from humans. How do you think like that? How do you solve impossible problems?" Aaron crouched to the boy's level. "We don't give up. We watch, we learn, we try new ideas, and we keep moving forward. Even when it seems impossible, we find a way. That is what humans do." The boy nodded, inspired. He would carry this lesson into the future, and the human's reputation would grow. Back at the palace, Lyra formally honored Aaron and his crew. "For bravery, wisdom, and leadership," she announced, "these humans have saved our people and changed our history. They are our allies, our friends, and our teachers." Aaron accepted the honor with humility. "Thank you. Humans do what is necessary. We fight when it is right, and we think when others panic. That is all." As the celebration continued, Lyra and Aaron stood together, looking out at the city. "The galaxy has never seen humans like this before," she said softly. "But now they will. And perhaps in time your people will teach others to think, to act, and to hope in ways we never imagined." Aaron smiled. "Humans do more than survive. We adapt, we inspire, and we lead. That is why the galaxy underestimates us at its own peril." Far beyond Valira Prime, messages spread quickly. News of the humans' clever tactics, courage, and leadership reached neighboring star systems. Aliens who had dismissed humans as insignificant began to take notice. Humanity's reputation was growing, not through conquest, but through ingenuity, bravery, and the ability to change the outcome of impossible situations. Princess Lyra turned to Aaron. "Will you stay here, or will you return to your people?" she asked. Aaron considered the question. "Humans have many worlds, but wherever there is a problem to solve or a people in need, humans will go. That is our nature." Lyra nodded. "Then may we see humans again, and may the galaxy remember your deeds here." As Aaron prepared to depart, the citizens of Valira Prime lined the streets, cheering and waving. Humans and Lyrians had fought side by side, blending strength, courage, and intellect. The city, though scarred, was alive, vibrant, and full of hope. The Vanguard lifted off into the sky, its engines cutting through the morning light. Aaron looked down at Valira Prime one last time, proud of what had been achieved. Humanity had not just saved a world, they had earned admiration, respect, and a place in the galaxy's future. And somewhere far across the stars, other civilizations would soon learn the same lesson. Underestimate humans at your own peril. Their courage, intelligence, and determination were forces no one could ignore. The galaxy had seen the human difference, and it would never forget.